Dessert Dash. Did you see the amazing cakes? They're amazing. Welcome, welcome. Let's get into it. Welcome to our third annual American Cancer Society ResearcHERS Women Fighting Cancer Luncheon. Welcome. I'm Wendy Reisman. I'm thrilled to be invited back again by the American Cancer Society and the ResearchHERS Board of Ambassadors to serve as your host for today's event. Since my first introduction to ResearchHERS in 2020, I have learned so much about the amazing women serving as leaders in cancer research right here in Minnesota and across the country. I'm excited to be with you all today, and I'm honored to share the stage with a truly inspiring group of women. I'd like to extend a great big thanks to our event sponsor, Athena Strategy, and our ResearchHERS advisors. Let's give them a round of applause. The ResearchHERS advisors who are in the room today have really made this event a reality, and I want to share their names with you now. Our co-chairs, Sarah Peterson and Mana Niertengarten, the co-chairs of the Junior Ambassadors Program, Erin Henehan and Gabriela Belos, Dana Carroll, Cindy Haas, Sandra Japuntich, Susan Sensor, and Rachel Vogel. And now I'm proud to introduce to you Sarah Pedersen. Sarah is the co-chair of ResearchHERS and the director of cancer research at Lange Health. Please join me in welcoming Sarah to the stage.
Thank you everyone for coming today. In 2021, the ResearchHERS Women Fighting Cancer Initiative raised more than $3.7 million nationwide to sustain women-led cancer research, bolster the careers of women researchers, and support a more robust pipeline of those leaders in cancer research. We are here today to add to that total. We're also here to continue our intentional support of women to ensure that they can continue to make a valuable contribution in this life-saving field. You can be proud that when you invest in the American Cancer Society ResearchHERS Women Fighting Cancer campaign, that your dollars will help sustain the society as a main ally, ensuring that the unique perspective and voice of women is accounted for in our world and our world-renowned cancer program. As research ambassadors, we are charged to identify and work with women leaders within our communities that are willing to partner with the American Cancer Society by raising both funds and awareness. This year, the American Cancer Society identified its first National ResearchHERS Ambassador, Dr. Karen Knudsen. What an impactful representative to lead the charge as the 2022 National Research Ambassadors, then the American Cancer Society's first women CEO. Dr. Karen Knudsen is someone who champions gender parity as well as cancer research, and she has this message to share with us.
Hello, I'm Dr. Karen Knudsen, CEO of the American Cancer Society. As the American Cancer Society 2022 National ResearchHERS Ambassador, I'd like to thank you for joining me in this important program. As a female in oncology research myself, I have a special passion for ResearchHERS. ACS is proud to be a top supporter of women in cancer research. Of those who disclose gender, about half of ACS grantees are women, most of them early in their careers. 100% of the donations raised through the ResearchHERS campaign are dedicated to help support and sustain our portfolio of ACS-funded grants led by women. As of January of this year, there are 237 women-led research projects totaling more than $141 million. These projects were eligible to receive funding raised through the ResearchHERS program last year. All the proceeds, 100%, raised from the campaign support the direct costs of 3 important ACS initiatives. First, funding women-led cancer research grants. Second, supporting paid parental leave for postdoctoral fellows in cancer research to help alleviate the challenges of remaining in the workforce while expanding their families. Finally, funding of the Summer Health Research Experience, SHE in Oncology, a 2-week virtual program that introduces high school juniors or seniors who identify as female to a wide range of cancer-related career experiences. In May of this year, ResearchHERS campaigns will kick off in more than 20 communities nationwide with a goal of raising more than $1.6 million. Women make invaluable contributions to cancer research, yet we know are underrepresented in research leadership. As the leading nonprofit funder of cancer research in this country, we can help sustain women-led cancer research, launch new careers, and inspire an entirely new generation of young women in considering careers in science. So thank you for joining me as a ResearchHERS ambassador.
What an incredible inspiration for why we are all here today. Later on, we'll have a chance to raise our paddles and play our own part in achieving American Cancer Society's $1.6 million ResearchHERS goal. Before we do that, we're going to have the privilege right now of recognizing 2 women who are leading the charge in the fight to end cancer and setting an example for the future right here in Minnesota. Our award winners today were nominated by their peers and colleagues and selected by the ResearchHERS ambassadors for their amazing contributions in their fields. The Rising Star Award recognizes an emerging female leader who shows great promise as a cancer researcher and has already demonstrated leadership by contributing beyond her scope of work to enhance the field of cancer research. This year's recipient of the Rising Star Award is Dr. Helen Parsons. Dr. Parsons is an associate professor in the Division of Health Policy and Management at the University of Minnesota. Her 10 years in the cancer research field focuses on benefits, risks, and results of healthcare interventions so that patients, clinicians, and policymakers can make more informed decisions. As a cancer outcomes researcher with expertise in health insurance, social determinants of health, and data linkages, Helen has dedicated her career to understanding how we ensure better access to high-quality cancer care among our most vulnerable of populations. She has worked throughout her career in government, industry, and academia to understand the greatest barriers to effective cancer care and elevate the needs of survivors by engaging with them to develop innovative new programming through support from federal and foundation resources. Outside of her own work, Dr. Parsons has a strong record of mentoring and advising master's and PhD students, postdoctoral fellows, medical trainees, and junior faculty. She has formally advised over 15 cancer-focused trainees and has supported their development by sponsoring them on funded projects, elevating and encouraging first author publications of their work, and advocating for advancement and promotion of these trainees. Please join me now in congratulating our 2022 Rising Star Award recipient, Dr. Helen Parsons.
All right, thank you everyone for the honor of receiving the 2022 ResearchHERS Rising Star Award. I'd just like to say that as a daughter, a granddaughter, a niece, cousin, friend, and a colleague of someone whose life has forever been touched by cancer, I've seen so many success stories showcasing the power of cancer research in improving treatment and survival for the more than 1.9 million new cancers that are diagnosed each year in the United States. However, in my research, we have seen so many cases where individuals do not have access to the best treatment available. This may be due to many reasons, ranging from poor access to health insurance, long distances that they need to travel to receive care, poor access to reliable transportation, and the need to choose between health care and paying for things like critical bills for rent, food, and childcare. In my research, I focus on shining a light on those disparities, identifying those who need advocates to ensure that they receive the care that they need to have the best chance at receiving evidence-based treatment to improve their survival. So going forward, I'm excited that we're moving beyond just identifying the people who need us to advocate for them, but developing new interventions that address the root causes of these challenges. For example, our group has developed a new technology to connect individuals with cancer and their caregivers with needed services and supports in the community that address issues with housing, financial, and social support, among other needs. Thank you to the American Cancer Society, its partners, my team, and each of you for supporting and advocating for those who need it most so that everybody can have the best opportunity to thrive after their cancer diagnosis.
Up next is our Legacy Award. This award recognizes a female leader who has led the advancement of career research throughout her career and has played a crucial role in supporting the career advancement of other women in the field of cancer research. This year's Legacy Award recipient is Dr. Carol Lange. Dr. Carol Lange is a professor of medicine and pharmacology in the Division of Hematology, Oncology, and Transplantation at the University of Minnesota. And she holds the Tickle Family Fund Grant Endowed Chair of Breast Cancer Research. Carol's 23-year career and the Lange Lab is focused on the role of steroid hormone receptors in breast and ovarian cancers. Her overarching research goal is to better understand how SR plus breast cancers and other hormone-influenced cancers of reproductive tissues escape endocrine and other molecular targeted therapies that primarily target signaling pathways that are active in proliferating cancer cells. In addition to Dr. Lange's own cancer research, she has focused a significant amount of effort on the training of investigators. She is the principal investigator for the Masonic Cancer Center's T32 training grant in cancer biology. Approximately 70% of these trainees are women, and she has been an exceptional mentor for women scientists and frequently participates in national conversations regarding the training of women in science, an opportunity afforded to her by her service as a leader of the Endocrine Society. Please join me in recognizing our 2022 Legacy Award recipient, Dr. Carol Lange.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the leadership in our university and our cancer center, to those of you who nominated me, and to the ACS. It's been a wonderful ride for 23 years. I think about maybe 30 years ago, I made the decision to leave the field of lung cancer research and enter the field of breast cancer research. This was primarily driven by a deep desire to become a women's advocate and to work on a problem that mostly affected women. And in doing so, I entered a major lab in Colorado, the lab of Kate Horowitz. She was also extremely well known in the field as a tiger. You know, as someone you were kind of afraid of. People said, "Are you sure you want to go work for her?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm sure." And she really defended the people in her lab, almost like a lioness defending her cubs. And then one day, Dr. Douglas Yee, our cancer center director, gave me a phone call while I was a postdoc. And I want to say thank you, Doug, for believing in me and calling me. I didn't know him at the time, and I was like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And I came and looked at the job and never looked back. And I think the reason I came here because this is such an amazing environment, a supportive environment. Anyone can succeed here. It's all about teamwork in our cancer center. And every day is an honor and a joy to come to this environment and work with my team and all the other collaborative teams and be a part of this big picture of solving the problem of cancer. And so I just want to say thank you so much. It's such a deep honor, and I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
ResearchHERS is not only a movement that celebrates the women who are currently working in the field of science, but also providing opportunity to celebrate community leaders who have joined the ResearchHERS sisterhood and are determined to sustain women-led research and recognize the trailblazers in the field who identify as women. Today, we honor Mary Henehan as the 2022 ResearchHERS Ambassador of the Year. Mary has been an active leader in ResearchHERS since this initiative launched in 2022. Over the last 3 years, Mary has raised more than $15,000 for ResearchHERS and is currently a national top 10 ResearchHERS ambassador. ResearchHERS is a family affair for Mary because her daughter Erin is a co-chair of the Junior Ambassador Program, working with future leaders to raise funds for women-led cancer research. Join me, and I was wrong, Mary, you should come up. Join me in congratulating Mary Henehan as the 2002 ResearchHERS Ambassador of the Year. If you want to say something, feel free.
Thank you. This is it's a humbling honor. There are a lot of people that work really hard in this organization, and super proud to accept this honor today. I'm here today because of Abby Schnorr, who got my girls involved in cancer fundraising through Relay for Life in high school. We lost a niece to cancer, a brain tumor at 8 years old, so it's been a kind of family-led effort for cancer fundraising, and this is a terrific organization I'm super happy to be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right, well, it wouldn't be lunch without dessert, am I right? I hope you were able to check out the amazing desserts and have appointed someone at your table to be a dessert dasher. If you haven't done so, now is your chance. So take a moment, select the person at your table who will do that, because we've tabulated the results. So here's what we're going to do. The dessert dash, when your table number is called, the dessert dasher will run to the dessert table to claim a dessert for your table by putting your table's teal dessert dash card, do you see those on the table, next to the dessert of your table's choosing. So dessert dashers should have your little card, and when we call your table, I'm going to call them in order. Here we go. We are going to start with table number 13. How about table number 12? Table number 8. Table number 6. Table number 1. Table number 15. Table number 2. Table number 11. Table number 3. Table number 18. Table number 14. Table number 5. Table number 10. Table number 17. Table 16. And the last three, table number 4. Table number 7. Go, go, 7's going hard. Table number 9. You guys, the top table collected $1,250. So thank you for that. That was super fun. Your table will enjoy your dessert shortly. Oh, which number are you? Oh, the total? I don't have the total. The highest number raised was $1,250. Table number 13. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call to the stage our cancer research panelists. We're going to have Dr. Rachel Vogel, Dr. Mellisa Geller, and Dr. Sandra Japuntich. Ladies, come on up, and as they do that, I'm going to share with you a little bit about their background. All right, Abby was good to tell me that the total number raised during the dessert dash was $7,893. Pick a chair and your chair. Let me give you a little background on each of our panelists. Dr. Rachel Vogel is a cancer epidemiologist and assistant professor in gynecology-oncology at the University of Minnesota, with a strong interest in cancer survivorship. Dr. Rachel Vogel's research focuses on identifying issues in patients as they face who were once diagnosed with cancer and test interventions to improve quality of life and outcomes. Her American Cancer Society grant is testing whether a wearable device that tracks sun exposure and provides alerts regarding sun exposure and protection behaviors will increase sun protection behaviors in melanoma survivors. Dr. Mellisa Geller, where's Mellisa? Give us a wave, thank you, is a professor and division director for the Division of Gynecologic Oncology at the University of Minnesota and leads the translational working group of the Masonics Cancer Center on Gynecologic Cancers. She oversees the integration of clinical research with clinical activities while providing oversight for the clinical shared resources and the clinical trials office. Melissa's research has focused on addressing new therapies to treat women with recurrent ovarian cancer, and a significant part of her effort has been concentrated on trying to understand how to exploit natural killer cells for therapeutic purposes against ovarian cancer. And Dr. Sandra Japuntich. She is a senior psychologist in the Henehan Healthcare Department of Psychiatry and an associate professor of medicine at the University of Minnesota Medical School. Dr. Japuntich's work focuses on increasing access to smoking cessation treatment and lung cancer screening in healthcare settings, including mental health clinics, dental clinics, primary care, and inpatient. Her American Cancer Society Research Scholar Grant investigates racial disparities in lung cancer screening. She is particularly interested in promoting health equity through identifying and treating tobacco in our most vulnerable populations. Thank you, ladies, for joining all of us today. Let's have a chat. All of you on this panel have received the American Cancer Society to fund your cancer research. Share with us some of the differences of the application and selection process from other funders and the benefits of being an ACS-funded researchers. Sandra, we'll start with you.
So the word on the street is that American Cancer Society grants are as competitive as other grant mechanisms, including the National Institute of Health. But what's different about them is that there are lots of opportunities to resubmit the grants and to have them help you sculpt your proposal. And responsiveness to reviews is viewed really highly. And so it is really a collaborative effort between researchers and ACS to get funding. The other thing that I love about being an ACS grantee is that ACS is this organization that does everything having to do with cancer, from advocacy to patient support to research and fundraising. And so as an ACS grantee, we get the opportunity to be involved in all of that stuff, including fundraising that we're doing today. I'm on the grant review panel. I have a research grant. So it really is this way of really elevating my career in a lot of different areas and allowing me to have a really big impact.
Thank you. So I think the majority of us in this room acknowledge that cancer research requires significant time and financial investment. So Mellisa, can you share with us an idea of what the typical timeline might look like from an ideal to clinical trial and the average investment needed at each stage?
Unfortunately, these numbers are depressing because the numbers are so large, and which is so fantastic. There are this many people in the room who are able to help us raise the money we need to do this. I'll tell you, I've been very lucky and blessed to be in an institution that's really been supportive of my career since the beginning. I received my first ACS grant, and now I'm going to be old, 2005, and I'll tell you, it really changed the trajectory of what I do today, because I don't think without that grant I would be where I am today. The dollar amounts, I just got FDA approval for a trial called peptide alarm therapy, which is going to be a trial where we give peptides within tumors of patients with cancer. And if you think about the research that was done, it was done in conjunction with Dr. David Massapust, who's here at the university. It started 12 years ago, and we are just getting approval now. And so it's been hundreds of thousands of dollars in research and grants and in funding support through the University of Minnesota that's really gotten us to this clinical trial that we'll be hopefully opening this trial in the next month. So
Wow.
it's not without a lot of work in getting the grant submitted and a lot of support from people in the room that's helped us.
12 years, long
It's a
time.
long time.
It's a long time. So it seems safe to say there's a huge time investment away from the lab just to be able to, ensure you have funding to continue your work. Rachel, how do you balance all of those commitments, personal life, family, and other professional obligations?
Not well. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I think that, one thing I think that would surprise it surprises a lot of people when I tell them is that the expectation of academic researchers. A few months ago, I was on a call, and they were talking about burnout, and they had a top female researcher come on, and she was talking about how she manages burnout, and she was, everybody was so excited because she took Saturdays off. And I was like, wait, what? So she talked about, she worked every night and she worked on Sundays, but she was so good about taking Saturday off. And everybody on the call was just applauding her for this great work-life balance. And that's our expectation. Unfortunately, that's the expectation. That's not what I do. And I work really hard to mentor the people that work with me that should not be the expectation, but it truly is. And the reason for that is that our work never ends, right? There's always more work for us to do. There's always another paper. There's always another grant. There's always another question, right? So the best scientists are so curious that there's always more to do. And so, for me, the biggest lesson I learned after having my daughter was I had to be okay with that. I had to be okay that there was always going to be more work to do, and it was okay to put that aside and go home and be with her. But that's, it is something that's really hard for us to manage, and I think, nobody in this room is going to be surprised that there's, on top of all the pressures that we have as researchers, we also have those pressures as being a woman and being a mom, right? And we live in the same society that you do, right? So, there's a lot to balance. But I'm really thankful for mentors here, mentors in the room that have done everything they can to make it so that I am more comfortable, being the great researcher that I am, and also being able to shut that off and go home.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of being a mom and being a woman, each of you have chosen careers that are traditionally a male-dominated field. So Mellisa, what drew you into the field, and how, in addition to that, how would you define what leadership means to you?
Those are good questions. So I did OBGYN, so I was in the Department of OBGYN, did a residency in that, and then decided to go on and be a gynecological oncologist, which is a further surgical training, so 3 additional years. And at that point, really, there was only 2 women here at the University of Minnesota who were gynecological oncologists. One who happened to be Dr. Linda Carson, who was the chair of the department, who I think had it not been for her and being able to see what she did and you know, just being the powerhouse that she was, and it makes me think of Carol Lange, who I've looked up for, you know, for many, many years, and what she's shown us and the ability to be a woman scientist. And, you know, I still see it, and as you walk into our department, there's a row of all men department chairs, and then Linda Carson in her orange dress, and, you know, that's really what drew me to this. And I think, you know, being able to see myself in someone like her who stood up for all the important things that Rachel just spoke of family and career and being a scientist is really what drew me to the field. And I think for leadership, you know, I think we see a lot of women who have this imposter syndrome. And even with some of the comments Rachel had, you know, she's amazing, associate professor, and I'm sure you are too, Sandra, I just don't know you. But Rachel and I have been together for 14 years in working together and collaborating. And I think, you know, boosting up women every day and really promoting from within is really something that I see in leaders.
Awesome. Representation matters, right? We need those examples.
Exactly.
So, Sandra, continuing a little bit on that same thread, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges for women in science and research? And then how have you managed those challenges as a researcher?
So, I mean, I want to echo a lot of what Rachel said, and you know, being an academic researcher was a field designed for men who had stay-at-home spouses. And so we are trying to kind of fit ourselves into that role without, you know, women researchers tend to have spouses who work and have their own careers, highly demanding careers usually, because we kind of select in our own, we tend to date ourselves. And so that's hard, right? Trying to balance 2 careers. I've had to move several times as each of us got different opportunities and finding jobs in those places. So, you know, and then the other problem with women is that our assistant professor years where we're really establishing our careers are the same time that we have to be starting our families because of biological clock issues. And so that's really challenging for women as well. But, you know, I do what Rachel does, right? I do my best when I'm at work, and I do my best when I'm parenting, and sometimes I'm not the best at everything, and I'm okay with that.
You have to be.
I mean,
You're right. So there's a phrase, you're only as good as who you surround yourself with. Rachel, I would love to know what you think of as the role of a mentor, and share with us how that fits within the rest of your network.
So, I mean, I think we're all familiar with, you know, what we want a mentor to be, right? We want that mentor to be somebody who supports us, who elevates us. And I think what has been really beneficial for my career is not having just one mentor, but having a whole tribe of mentors, right? And knowing that each one of them is going to support me or help me in a different way. And one really great example, I don't even know if she's in this room, but one of the best researchers I know, most successful, happens to be female, but she is fantastic. When I was pregnant with my daughter, she pulled me aside and she said, Rachel, don't do what I did. Spend as much time with your child when they're young as you can. Work will always be here. And I mean, if you knew how successful she was, you would say, how in the, I would have never expected her to say that to me, but that stuck with me. You know, she said that to me 8 years ago, and I still very much remember that conversation. And so it's really, you know, I think as mentors, it's really our job to be giving all, you know, helping support in any way we can, whether that's personal, whether that's career, whether that's networking. It's all of these things that really, you know, there's so much benefit that a mentor can provide in having that team of mentors.
Awesome. So there's a room full of community and professional leaders here today. Share with us all the ways that we can support you and other cancer researchers going forward.
Want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, I think the most critical thing for support is really time, at least in my field. Clinician scientists who are women, they need the time to do the work. And I think that's what ACS gave me in the beginning. I originally had a K award, which is a protected my time so I could begin the career. And then giving people like me the opportunity to go further. Had I not received that ACS grant, I honestly can say I don't know that I'd be here. I mean, you get so many rejections. I mean, you submit so many grants, and then when they don't come, you start thinking, well, is this really for me? And then one hits, and I think it's after that you know, the other grant funding comes in, and you really can see where you can help people along the way who have not been successful to really get to that point, and I think it's all a result of funding. It's funding like the ACS grants that has really gotten us to where we are.
Sandra, how about you?
I want to echo that one way you can support us is by giving money during the paddle race, which is coming up, and coming to things like this, but also, you know, supporting initiatives for women in STEM in your own companies. I know a lot of people have outreach programs like that. And then the last thing I would say is if you are at an opportunity where you need somebody, a cancer researcher, a woman in science, well, anyone in science, to pick a woman, to elevate a woman's career in those situations, because the implicit bias is to pick a man. And so really trying to make sure that your panels have representation so that you do have the models that are so helpful in showing women that they can do these kinds of jobs.
Yeah, great call out. Rachel?
The only thing I'm going to add is just to support all the women in your life, all the girls, support them to pursue STEM, to pursue what they're interested in, show them what that looks like, and show them that they can be successful. And I think, you know, what's really great is that every generation is making it easier for the next. You know, so people like Carol and Mellisa have made it much easier for me, and then my goal is to make that easier for the generation coming behind me.
Well, thank you, ladies, very much for your incredible insight and all of your work for the American Cancer Society research.
Thank you.
Thanks
for coming.
Thank you. So at this time, I would like to welcome to the stage Monica Theis. Monica is the lead volunteer for the American Cancer Society and the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. Monica is the mom of 2 daughters, works as a paralegal, and currently Monica is living with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. It's good to see you, Monica, and welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be here at this year's ResearchHERS event. I actually spoke 2 years ago and told my whole long story at that event. It'll be a little shorter today. This summer will be a 30-year cancer survivor, and I'm currently living with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma when I was in college back in 1992, and have since had 3 breast cancer diagnoses, with the most recent diagnosis stage 4 in 2015. My cancer is currently incurable. I'm on my 11th line of treatment with stage 4 breast cancer and have been through 2 clinical trials. I'm here today thanks to the research that has made my treatment options possible, and I have a healthy hope. And healthy hope is a hope for something that can actually happen, and my hope is fueled through research and the benefit from more treatment options in the future. Cancer has been a part of my girls' lives. I have 2 daughters since they were 3 and 5. They are now 20 and 22, and I just got to see my oldest daughter graduate from college earlier this month. I'm banking on research to help me reach more of these milestones in their lives. I volunteer with the advocacy affiliate of the American Cancer Society, the Cancer Action Network, because our lawmakers need to understand how important the federal funding for research is. However, the government funding isn't always going to the young researchers who want to try the new and innovative treatments. That's where American Cancer Society helps by funding young researchers kickstart their careers and build a foundation for the future and the future of cancer research. And people like you can help with that. I'm here to ask to help build this foundation today. I am alive, no doubt, because of the drugs and interventions that were developed by the dedicated researchers. As you can see, the list of drugs and therapies, I don't know if they're putting it up there. There's a list of all the drugs that I've been on that have kept me alive over the years. Is very extensive, but it's also very limited. Eventually, the treatment options are going to run out. As each drug stops working, I move on to the next, and then the next, and then the next. It's fairly exhausting. Research that is happening right now is the only promise for me to add drugs and therapies to my list and to keep me alive, to see my daughters continue to grow, and to make an impact on this world. I need you to raise your paddle today to help ensure that women researchers continue to be fully funded, and to add one more option to my list and the list of millions living with cancer, and to contribute to my bucket of healthy hope that I will be around for a lot more. Thank you.
Thanks again, Monica, for sharing your incredible story. So right now, as Monica said, all of us in this room will have a chance to make a direct impact on the future of women-led cancer research. I want you all to find your program with your bid number on the back. Do that now, because I'm going to ask you to raise your programs high. I'm going to introduce 5 donation levels. After I do, if you would like to donate at that level, just raise your program so I can read the number, and a volunteer will record that donation amount. It's that simple. So the funds we raise at this moment will help American Cancer Society sustain women as leading contributors in cancer research. Together, we will raise our hands to add one more drug or intervention to Monica's list, as well as the lists of millions of cancer survivors and thrivers. When we join together in this, along with the ResearchHERS supporters across the country, our impact truly, truly multiplies. All right, get your programs. It's that time. We're going to start our funding level at $2,500. Do I have someone at $2,500? 2, 2, 3. Thank you. Anyone else at $2,500? I'm going to make it a little uncomfortable. All right, next level, $1,000. Do I have someone at $1,000? 2, 2, 9. 184 and Judy 194. $1,000. And Mary 155. Round of applause at $1,000. Thank you. All right, in case you lost your program, we're moving on to $500. Who do I have at $500? Nice. Number 210, 219, 269, 191, 202, 169, keep clapping, 178, 208, 213, 192, 197, 270, 139, yes, 500. All right, how about the 250 level? 250, right away, 207, 263, 259, 145, 156, 187, 112, 198, 143, 237, 148, 150, 260, 132, and 277 at 250. Oh, 259. Thank you, thank you. All right, can we get everyone in the room? $100. Grab your program. 165, 228, 251, 186, 238, 180, 117, 268, 242, 219, 220, 153, 240, 151, 131, 121, 201, 118, 269, 274, 195, 127, 190, 182, 273, 116, 181, 224, 230. Oh my goodness, 170, 161, 126, 119, 265, 154, 108, 103, 133, 122, 138, 192. Anyone, 158? I got you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Awesome, awesome work. Thank you, everyone, in the room this afternoon. Today, we've just raised an enormous amount of money. We've added more drugs to Monica's list and those across the country. You can turn your donation cards on your table if you want, in at the registration table on your way out. Your contributions are going to make an impact on so many lives, the lives of women researchers and the lives of cancer patients. The American Cancer Society is on a mission to save lives, celebrate lives, and lead the world in the fight against cancer. Today, we ensured that women continue to live out that mission. What did we do it by, Abby? Today, we raised a total of $55,000. That's a good lunch right there. That's a really great lunch. Thank you, everyone, so much. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.